Hi, I'm Nick from the DVCC, and today I'm going to take you through a home workout with some adaptations, regressions if needed. We're going to start with the primal 10, which is essentially our warm-up. So we're going to start on our hands and our knees. Hands in line with those shoulders, knees in line with those hips. We're going to bring that chin towards the chest. Whilst doing so, round that spine, up, over, and allow it to stretch fully. Once you've done that, slowly flatten the back out, raising that chin up nice and high towards the sky, and repeating. As we round that spine up, inhale, take a deep breath in before slowly pushing those hips away on the exhale as the head comes up. Nice and slow, control that movement from start to finish. No rush on this one at all. Allowing the spine just to help mobilize through the reps, going that little bit higher on each one. 40 seconds, so the last 3, 2, 1, and into our downward dog. So hands either side of the chest, raising that chest up nice and high, and again, head up, facing that ceiling. Exhale. We're going to inhale as we draw your heels back away from you, lifting those hips up nice and high. To regress this for any adaptation, so any back concerns or knee trouble, what you can do is just slowly go back into the child's pose before repeating the initial stretch of the downward dog, like so. So 2 options there. So the full downward dog, hips up nice and high, and again, nice and controlled, slowly sinking back down, ideally keeping those hips slightly raised. If needed, resting to the floor. Last 3, 2, 1, and down we come. Into our swimming arm hovers, so one arm in front, rest that forehead down, other arm just behind that hand, just here, drawing the arm away from the body, rotating that shoulder joint around onto the lower back, and then repeat in reverse order, slowly bringing that arm across. Nice and controlled. Anyone that generally carries a little bit of tension in and around that shoulder joint, you'll start to feel this after a couple of reps, so take your time. Anyone with any sort of shoulder concerns, to regress it, you can just simply come out to the side and then back in again. 20 seconds on each side, and then change sides. Same again, switching over, hand behind the head, arm out to the side, and rotate that shoulder joint. Okay, so again, nice and controlled. Repeat in reverse order, and extend that arm fully. Excellent. Allow the hips just to rest on the floor. Knees and feet shouldn't move at all. And trying to keep those shoulders in line with each other without allowing a twist. And rest. Into our glute bridge march stretch. Hands either side. Draw those hips up, raising one leg up to 90 degrees, then down, followed by the other. Nice and controlled. Once we've done that, alternate arm reach, allow that shoulder to rotate across at 45 degrees, and then change sides. Once we've done each side, back into that glute bridge march, like so. And rest after 40 seconds. Once we're here, hollow hold. 2 options on this one, knees at 90 degrees or fully extended for the advanced version. Arms up above your head, palms inwards, raising that shoulder slightly off the floor and brace that position. For those with any back concerns, what we can do is regress the movement simply by bringing the knees up to 90 degrees and also resting that head down, okay? But if we're okay, maintain, set, and breathe. Once we've done this, 40 seconds, rest up, and we're onto our hands and knees for our press-ups. Okay, so 2 options here. Initially, knees grounded, dropping the chest down towards the floor, in between the hands, drive up, followed by a single arm reach. Same again, changing sides. Maintaining that the palm stays facing the floor. What we can also do to advance this further, full press-up position, chest down, drive up, and then again repeat, okay? To make it a little bit easier for you, have your legs wide as you range up, repeat through. "40 seconds, and then into the next mobilizer. After the press-ups, we go into our overhead reach with a forward lunge. So one leg forwards, arms up nice and high, draw yourself back, chest up, change legs. nice and smooth. Just allowing those shoulders to relax as the arms lift up nice and high. Okay. To adapt this, so anyone with any sort of knee concerns, we can take it into a squat position. Taking those arms up nice and high, like so. Trying to keep your weight, whichever version you've gone for, onto the heel itself. Back nice and stiff. Soften those knees on the way down. Always focus on something in front of you just to help maintain the balance. 40 seconds, then into our gate swings. So legs wide, at least shoulder width apart. Touch down onto the floor, push down, legs rotate out, and then we step down. So again, anyone with any knee concern, we can simply step this to the side, like so, taking out any sort of impact in the movement itself. And then our final one, our high knees. Progress this one, marching on the spot, driving those knees again to 90 degrees to take out any impact. So we've just completed the Primal 10 section of today's workout, the home workout. We're now going to move into the modified lactic training section of the session. We're going to start with an exercise called the Good Morning. So if you're at home and you don't have any weights such as dumbbells or kettlebells lying around, just grab something as close to a dumbbell weight as you can, i.e. a can of soup or something that's just going to add that little bit more resistance. But essentially with this exercise, what we're looking to do is brace the dumbbell close to the body so we can either hold like so, or just bring the hands across, keeping it nice and taut, abs embraced as well. Our feet just wide of shoulder width apart, toes slightly out to the side, soften the knees, and as we come down, we're going to hinge your hips backwards on a 4-second tempo before driving back up, squeezing your bum at the top. Same again, 4 seconds down, and lift. So the aim is to do 7 reps to begin with. Once we've done our 7 reps, we're going to have a 40-second break and then go into our second set. Nice and easy, just allowing those hips to go right back behind you, squeezing the abs in before you lower yourself down. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, and lift. When you've done your first set, rest up, 40 seconds, and then we go again. To make it a little bit more challenging, what you can do is just take those legs out a little bit wider. You'll feel a deeper stretch into the groin area. Again, make sure the tempo is nice and controlled. No need to rush it on both fronts, either coming down or coming up. And just allowing that stretch to really work the back of those legs right the way through. Okay, so when you've had your 40 seconds rest, raise the dumbbell up, set yourself, draw that belly in, chest up, and same again. 4 seconds down, 1 second up. In terms of your breathing, try and have a little think about the exhale as you come up. Inhale before you draw yourself down, and repeat. Really pushing those hips back as if you were to close the front door, but you've got 2 big bags of shopping in either hand, so you can't do that in the normal way. When you've done your 7 reps, draw it back in and allow the weight to rest as well, okay? Once you've done your first 2 sets of 7, we then focus on a slightly lower rep range. It's a maximum of 5 reps as well. So again, if we're at home and we want to make this a little bit more challenging, we can just work on a slightly slower tempo coming upwards, okay? So rather than fast on a 1 second, it could be maybe 2 seconds, and just sort of see how that works for you as well, all right? So again, set yourself up, toes out, at least shoulder width apart, and this time it's a 5 rep max that I'm looking to focus on. Squeeze those abs, and then slightly slower on the way up. Good, deep breath in. And lift. Okay, once you've done your set, same again, and rest as well. So the main body parts you're essentially working through on that particular exercise, so hamstrings, glutes, lower back, but also your abs as well. So it's really important to just keep that spine nice and stable from start to finish. Essentially, whether we're standing up or coming down, that back needs to be nice and straight. To allow that to happen, soften the knees just a little bit, and just remember to really push those hips back as far behind you as you can, and you'll be good to go, apart from that. So the last set, one more time, 5 reps being the target, 4 seconds down, lift up on a slightly slower tempo if you haven't got any weights to progress up with. Just allowing as well, just the eye line to follow the normal movement. Essentially, we don't want to raise our head up too high on the way down, keeping it nice and in line with that spine at all times. When you've done your set, rest it there. Okay, so we've just finished the good morning exercise. So now we move on to an upper body exercise, which is essentially our dips. So you're going to be working your triceps, your shoulders, and your upper chest. Important again to keep that spine nice and neutral, so you'll be getting a good ab workout at the same time. So when you're ready, if you're at home and you've got just maybe a kitchen chair or the side of a sofa, this one would work really, really well. You want to take a seat and have your hands either side of your hips. Okay, so get yourself ready, bring yourself off of the chair like so, and initially start with your feet just hip width apart, 90 degrees from your knees, ankles into your hips, chest up and eyes facing forwards. From here, we're going to lower yourself down for 4 seconds into a 90-degree position, so ideally elbows in line with the shoulders, and then we're going to press up. We want to keep your back fairly close to the chair if we can, just to allow that spine to stay nice and straight. Again, we're going to aim for 7 reps for our first 2 sets. 2, 3, 4. And just keeping those elbows as narrow as you can on the way down. 4 seconds again. And one more time. Good. When you've done your first set, have a rest, 40 seconds, no change on that front as well. If you found that quite easy or you wanted to advance it even further, what you can do is have your legs in a straight position, heels grounded, but just toes slightly raised. So we're going to go through that as an option for your second set as well. Tempo doesn't need to change too much. Those carrying any sort of shoulder niggles or any aches and pains in and around that, just avoid maybe going quite as low. So you might want to go to say 45 degrees rather than the whole 90-degree movement. So we're going to go for the advanced version now for my progression. So heels down, toes up, eyes forwards, and then again, 4 seconds down. And again, just in terms of the breathing, inhale as we come down, elbows narrow, exhale on the lift, and repeat. It's great. Take a seat when you've done your set, another 40 seconds, and then again, as we did on the good mornings, your final 2 sets will be for 5 repetitions, but again, choose your option in terms of feet grounded or 90-degree position, set yourself. You can take it that little bit further as well. If you found that the straight leg version was again quite comfortable, you can have your heels elevated either on a chair or a low step, whatever's available at home. But again, it's just going through that 5 rep movement now. So set yourself up, hands either side of the chair, chest up, bring yourself off, legs nice and stiff if you've gone for that version. And again, 4 seconds down, drive it through. Okay, grab a seat, that's the 5 done. 40 seconds rest, and then one more set to go as well. Similarly, as we did on the good mornings, if you wanted to make it that bit more challenging, just simply slow that tempo down on the way up. No slower than about 2 seconds, I would say. But again, just adapt that when or if you need to as well. Okay, so one more set, and then that's our tricep dips done. So set yourself up, hands either side, abs in nice and tight, legs stiff for the advanced, and off we go. Just before those hips hit the floor, that's our cue to draw the weight from the palms all the way to the top. Take a seat, and we're done. So we've just finished our tricep dips. Now we're going to move on to another lower body exercise called the reverse lunge. So again, if you've got some weights at home, kettlebells or dumbbells would work absolutely fine on this one. But essentially what you're going to do with the weights by your side, draw those shoulders back away, keep that chest up as if you wanted to see what's in the mirror in front of you. And from there, you're going to step back with one leg, lowering yourself down on a tempo of 2 seconds before pushing up into a standing position, change legs. 2 seconds down, driving back through, okay? So essentially the reps don't change. It's still 7 on each side, so we're gonna count 14 overall. Abs in nice and tight, eyes just facing forwards. I find that it just helps just focusing on something in front of me and just keeping my eye line nice and straight. Sit, good. Keep those abs in and try and reset at the top. Remember to just pull those shoulders back. 2 seconds down, the weight should be on the front of the heel, on that front foot. Drive through. One more time. And rest. Okay, so 40 seconds again, no change on that front as well. Obviously weights, all relative in that sense. So if you haven't got dumbbells at home, again, maybe even just a can of soup, either hand as well, you can just do a bodyweight version. Your hands could either go across your chest or on your hips, wherever you prefer. Essentially, the main thing is to just keep that back nice and straight and allowing the weight to go on the front foot from that heel straight back through. When you've had your 40 seconds rest, set yourself up, go again. Second set, 2 seconds down, 1 second up. You may feel a little bit wobbly from time to time, so just make sure that, again, before you drop down, feel free to just set yourself, take your time, and just adjust if needed. Nice and slow, draw through. Good, 2 seconds down again, just to remind yourself, sometimes this is where your legs will want to speed it up. Just control that tempo. One more time. And rest. Okay, so also options to advance it or make it more challenging. We can go into a forward lunge. Okay, so again, what we're having to do there is push the weight back away from the set body position. So absolutely give that a go. We're going to try that as an advanced version now. But again, just keep yourself focused on an object in front. 5 reps, just to remind you, for the next 2 sets. So 10 overall on my lunges. So forward lunge option. Still 2 seconds down. Drive back. And change. Again, chest nice and high. Last 2 reps. One more time. And rest. Okay, 40 seconds. One more set to go, okay? But again, essentially, there are other ways to take it that little bit further. You can just simply step forwards that little bit more. Essentially, what we're looking to do is just keep that spine nice and straight. On the lunge, if you feel that you're leaning forwards too much, okay, so if I'm over here, for example, it might mean that I might need to adjust my foot position. Ideally, that front foot needs to be flat. So whichever one you've gone for, front foot flat at all times. Okay, so set yourself up. One more set. Forward lunge again. Drive back through. Again, just keeping that eye line. Focus on something fixed in front of you. And just remember to draw those shoulders back each time. Last one on each side. And rest. Great work. So we just finished our reverse lunges, or forward lunge as well. We're going to move on to the final exercise of the modified lactic training, which is essentially the plank. So the plank is a great effective core exercise. The important thing to do with this one is just make sure your spine is nice and straight at all times. A couple of options with this one. We'll go through the first one, so the formal version. So as we come down, elbows in line with those shoulders, hands just planted flat on the floor like so, and keeping an eye or draw an imaginary line with your eyes between each hand. When I'm set to go, I'm going to lift up, feet hip width apart, and just draw my abs in. Squeezing my glutes, making sure that I'm just parallel to the floor. I want to pull my shoulders back and away from my head. Nice and stable. 40 seconds is my target. And rest. Great, so once you've done your first set, 40 seconds rest, and the same as before, you go into set number 2. We'll still keep it as a 40-second duration. When you're doing the position, just again, a couple of teaching points to think about. Squeeze your bum nice and tight. Imagine that you've got a glass of water on your lower back, and what you don't want to do is let that glass topple over. So what we're trying to do there is just create a nice flat back, making sure our chest is parallel to the floor. So we're going for set number 2. So again, set yourself up, initially on the knees to start with, hands flat, elbows in line with those shoulders, and lift. Okay, so pull those shoulders back, squeeze in your bum, and draw that belly in. Hold nice and still. Excellent. And if you feel your hips start to drop down, just take them just that little bit higher. Squeeze your glutes or your bum in just that little bit more. And hold. 40 seconds. And rest. Okay, so 2 more sets to come on the plank as well. We're going to go through a couple of regressions as well. So for those carrying any sort of back concerns or just general sort of any elbow injuries, so we feel that maybe putting pressure onto those joints is a problem, we can change that up. So the other option with the full plank is we just simply hold a press up position, okay? But again, the principles are the same. So draw that imaginary line with your eyes between each hand, starting on your knees, squeezing those abs as you lift yourself up. Feet hip width apart, pull the shoulders back, and we hold. Okay, so it's slightly less demanding on the back itself. I've got more control because my arms are nice and stiff, and it's less stressful on those elbows and those shoulders. 40 seconds. And rest when you've done that. 40 seconds rest, 1 more set to do. The final set, I'm just going to offer another regression. So again, if that second one was still quite a challenge, we can go back to the first version, but just simply take it into a kneeling stance. So what that looks like from here, hands at the ready, of course, knees nice and back, but just making sure that you lower the hips down. You want a horizontal line from your knees, hips, and into your shoulders. 40 seconds, squeeze that tummy in, pull those shoulders back, eyes facing down. "40 seconds, and rest. So we've just finished the modified lactic training part of the session. Now we move on to the last bit, which is our signature metabolic finisher. So it will be 2 exercises, one done initially in a descending format. So you do it a period of time, so 40 seconds, then you're going to have 40 seconds rest. Then it's 30 seconds, followed by 30 rest, and then 20, followed by 20 rest. Once you've done the first exercise, you then move on to the second one, and it's just 1 round. You can do up to 3 rounds if you like. Try the one, see how you feel. So the 2 exercises are burpees. So the first one, so you're going to come all the way down, extend the legs, drive those knees to the chest, and then jump at the top, land, and do the same again. So that's the first option. The second one, and the regress version, is just simply coming down, stepping one leg out at a time before standing up nice and tall. So for, again, anyone that's carrying any sort of knee concerns, any hip or back concerns, again, you can regress the option itself. The second exercise will be the mountain climbers. Press up position, squeeze the glutes and abs, and draw in those knees fast forwards, okay? To regress that one, we can do it in a standing position and just march those legs, or we can go into a high knee version as we did earlier on, okay? So it's 40 seconds to start with. We'll start with the burpees. When I've done that, I'm gonna rest for 40 seconds, okay? So when you're ready, coming down. Try and really leap the floor. Go as high as you can. Squeezing those abs as you drop down to the floor. Arms are nice and stiff. Feel free to use those arms on the lift upwards as well. Just stick out. Get yourself a little bit more air. And rest. When you've done your 40 seconds, again, rest for the equivalent time. So it's a 40-second rest. Just on that one, try and get your legs fully straight behind you if you can. We're going to go through the second option now, so the regress version. But again, just making sure you're standing up tall at the top. 30 seconds, see how you feel. So when you're ready, off we go. So one leg, set, go again. Nice and tall. Arms down initially. And just alternate the legs, making sure one goes forwards, then the other. Once you've done your 30 seconds, rest. 30 seconds rest, 20-second version coming up, followed by that 20-second rest. So it's your final round of the burpees. Then we'll move on to the mountain climbers from there, okay? So nice and tall, count yourself in, set your timer up, 20 seconds to finish off with, off we go. Back to the full version. Drive those hips out. Good. Last 5. And rest. Once you've had your rest, we move it into the mountain climbers. Same again, 40 seconds. We'll go for a couple of options, obviously, during the movement as well. Set yourself up. Deep breath in, come down. Draw those abs in. Hands in line with those shoulders. One leg back, one knee in front. 40 seconds. Trying to keep those hips nice and low. Hard as we can, so if you can pick up that pace a little bit more. And it's just knees down the middle. Once you've done your 40 seconds, rest it there, 40 seconds rest, second set of 30. Just remember on this one, so the regress version, standing up, nice high knees, we're going to cover that in the next set. Once you've done your 30 seconds, rest for 30 seconds as well. Okay, so from here, back nice and straight, off you go. And just remember, you've also got the standing march as an alternative for anyone that feels that too much on those joints. Rest for 30, have a little breather, one more round to do, 20 seconds to finish off with, and then that's a workout done, okay? Back into our mountain climbers. This is the advanced version, remember. Set yourself up, abs in tight, one knee in front, and drive. 20 seconds, and rest. So we've just finished that signature metabolic finisher, and this is a final stage of the session today, which is our mobilization matrix. So all we're going to do, just in a space around you where you have, draw the abs in, and from this forward position, one arm reaches across that body. You want to lower that shoulder down towards the floor. Hold for around about 3 seconds, slowly bring it back up, and do the same again on the other side. Bringing that shoulder deep down, arm goes across, back through, and then into the child's pose stretch. So from here, lowering those hips right back into those heels and allowing the back to stretch out fully. Once we've done that, slowly back up and repeat. Reaching through, same again on the other side. Back up, dropping yourself down. Sit, and we can do this for 3 to 4 repetitions in total. Once you've done the total amount, we should obviously finish off into that child's pose and rest. When we've done this one, take a seat, heels drawn together, keeping that chest up nice and high, and just from the ankle position, just lowering your elbows into the knee to allow a stretch all along that inner thigh area. Pull those shoulders back, keep that chest nice and high, eyes facing forwards, and hold. So the stretches on the whole, we're looking at around about 40 seconds on each one. Once we've done that duration, we just simply move across into the next stretch. So from here, it would be the straight leg hamstring stretch. So 1 foot drawn in. If you do have any knee concerns and that feels uncomfortable to hold that, what you can do is just simply have both legs out to the side like so. But essentially with this first one, reaching down that straight leg, with the opposite arm, you want to reach up, over and across onto the other hand, just as far as you can. You'll feel that along the backs of the leg. If you can get to the toe area, gently pull that across towards you, and you should start to feel that bite. If you can't quite get as far, or even if it's to the knee itself, fine, you should still start to feel that stretch in the same area. Once we've done that, slowly release, change legs. Opposing arm to start with, the opposite arm up, over and across onto those toes if you can, but just remember, so even if you're able to get to the shin or the knee area, far as you can, and just hold. Gently pull that toe and rest. Okay, next stretch, so our hip abductor stretch. Line yourself down from here and either bringing the foot up like so, resting your head down, drawing that knee away from you. If that's quite comfortable and you're not really feeling a stretch too much, what you can do is sit yourself up, front foot flat, with your arms just behind your body, chest up nice and high. Just sit there. Again, if you're still not quite feeling that stretch, you can just bring the foot a little bit closer towards you, and you should start to feel that towards the edge of that hip. Once you've done the duration, release, and change sides. Bring that chest up nice and high and hold. So remember the line version that we did initially, that's just an easier version of the stretch. So again, anyone carrying any tension in that knee or that hip area, start with that one, progress up to this seated version if you feel happy. When you've done that, just rest it there. Into a kneeling position, one leg in front of the other. So starting with that left leg in front, we're going to lunge forwards. Right arm goes across that left knee, and with the other hand, just reaching behind ourselves and hold. Try and keep your eyes on the back hand if you can. If you do feel a little bit wobbly, just you can take it back to a position where you feel more stable. Once you've done the duration, release and change sides. So opposing leg, and again, just remember it's the opposite arm that goes across, leaning back and through. When the arm goes behind you, try not to lean back too much like so. You just want to keep the weight on that front leg as best you can. Chest nice and aligned. And release. Once we've done the stretch, drop it into a press-up position, and from here, It's the inchworm hold. So we're just going to walk the toes forwards, nice and easy, like so, driving those hips downwards to the floor, into that furthest point you can take it. You'll feel it all along the backs of the legs and into the lower back. Arms nice and stiff, hold steady. Just to show you a regress version of this, so for some that's quite a difficult position to get into, so what you can do is feet close together and just simply allowing yourself to drop down. Essentially you're just going to be working through the same movement all along the backs of those legs and hold. Once you've done that stretch, slowly coming back up, nice and easy, and into the triangle pose stretch. So that's the legs nice and wide. So from here, toes out to the side. You want to go wider than shoulder width, ideally. From there, we're going to lower one hand down towards the inside ankle. The other arm comes up right above your chest, palm facing forwards. Again, eyes if you can on that top hand, and you should start to feel that all along the inside leg where the weights drop down. Once you've done that stretch, slowly back up, release the arm, change sides. Same again, raising the eyes towards that top hand and hold, set, and again, 40 seconds, give or take. The longer we can maintain that, the better. Slowly back up. And then that final stretch just to finish off with, feet close together, but no wider than hip width apart. We want to start with your right hand just behind the lower back, knuckle just resting above the bum. With that left arm, pull the head across to the left shoulder and hold. So this is a levator scapulae. What you'll find is you'll feel a stretch along the neck and shoulder area. When you do, just hold. Remember to control the breathing. And change, and then that last stretch, bringing that head right the way across. Eyes facing forwards. Hold it into that position. And rest. So that's the home session workout for today. Keep your eyes and ears out for future sessions coming up on our social media platforms and in our Facebook forums. Think about the regressions if needed, the adaptations. You've got some options there to keep you going. That essentially to take 50 minutes, which is more than enough time to get a good workout in. Well done, guys. Oh, God, I didn't know what to do.